Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Joining us is Rachael Buck, Dr. Rachael Buck. She's a research fellow at Abbott, and she's joining us on the program to talk about necrotizing enterocolitis in premature babies. Thank you for joining us on the program, Dr. Rachael Buck.
Good morning, Neil. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Just to introduce myself, I am Rachael Buck, and I'm a research discovery scientist at Abbott, and I have the privilege of researching and focusing on immune health. I work at the forefront of infant nutrition with Abbott, and what I essentially do is I study the multiple components that are in breast milk to help Abbott develop a range of infant formulas that are as close as possible to breast milk. And we all know that breast milk is the gold standard of infant nutrition. And so I also develop clinical trials to study the effects of these nutrients on babies' development. And I have the privilege of leading Abbott's groundbreaking research program on human milk oligosaccharides, which we will talk a lot about today.
How has formula changed significantly over the last several years?
Well, it's changed significantly. We basically, by studying these components in breast milk, we can understand what is in breast milk and where possible, what can we add to infant formulas to bring it closer. And we've been studying human milk oligosaccharides for over 20 years. And these are very important breast milk components that are now added to infant formulas. And they're so important because they are the third most abundant component in breast milk. And they're even more prevalent than protein. So that tells me, as a scientist and as a researcher, that HMOs, human milk oligosaccharides, are very important. And we are pioneering the research to understand exactly what they do.
Now, are the formulas the same for infants that go full term or close to full term as opposed to infants that are born prematurely?
They're very different because preterm babies have exceptional and unique nutritional requirements compared to term infants. So we absolutely develop preterm infant formulas to meet those needs.
Are some of the problems that term babies have also present in premature babies?
Well, let me talk about preterm babies and again talk about human milk oligosaccharides and necrotizing enterocolitis. First of all, let me just say what HMOs are. Not only are they abundant components, but they are very unique, special prebiotics. They're complex carbohydrates that feed beneficial bacteria, but they do much more than that. They help the developing immune system. And we know that breast milk is associated with a reduced risk of necrotizing enterocolitis. What is NEC? NEC is a leading cause of death in preterm infants, sadly, and it causes a dramatic, devastating gastrointestinal disease and inflammation. And so we've basically been looking to see if HMOs can reduce the risk of NEC. And this breakthrough research that's been published in Pediatric Research, this is research that we've done with Johns Hopkins. We've made a major discovery in these preclinical early-stage models that mimic NEC. This is not clinical research yet, but we've discovered that some unique human milk oligosaccharides, two of the most abundant HMOs in breast milk, can dramatically reduce the severity of NEC. And furthermore, we're understanding how these HMOs are working, what is their mechanism of action in terms of reducing this devastating disease in premature infants.
Now, is NEC always present in premature babies?
So NEC is present in about 10% of preterm babies. I'm sorry, let me start again. About 10% of babies are preterm, and they're very vulnerable, very susceptible to NEC. And sadly, it has an overall mortality rate of about 30%, and that hasn't changed for over 4 decades. So it's still a major problem. And we're basically learning, because there are very few treatment options, there's a huge emphasis now on prevention strategies. And HMOs may be a key tool, a key ingredient to reduce the risk of NEC in infants. And we're building confidence around these preclinical studies to understand how HMOs can reduce NEC.
Were the initial studies on this breast milk as it relates to NEC, were there any indications in animals as far as their breast milk?
Yes. So what healthcare professionals and experts in the field know is that there's something magical about breast milk. There's something magical in terms of its ability to reduce the risk of NEC, but nobody's known exactly what is it in breast milk that's providing some of these benefits. And it certainly from the preclinical studies, HMOs are very suggestive. In fact, we know HMOs are reducing the severity of NEC in these animal models that mimic human development of NEC in human preterm babies as well. So we're very encouraged about the ability to possibly translate these benefits into developing formulas for preterm infants to help reduce the risk of NEC.
Now, this Johns Hopkins study, the Abbott published it in Pediatric Research. Where can we get some more information online about this study and about NEC as well?
Yes, so the paper is available online. And again, the key takeaways are that there are the two most abundant HMOs called 2FL, 2-fucosylactose, and 6SL, 6-sialactose. Again, the paper's online, but these two very abundant HMOs have been shown to reduce the necrotizing enterocolitis in animal models. And it's very unique. They're actually curbing this devastating intestinal inflammation by binding to a key immune receptor that is overexpressed in preterm guts, preterm intestinal tissue. And because these HMOs combine to this innate immune receptor, they help to curb this devastating inflammation, thereby reducing the severity of NEC.
What would you say is next for formula production at the conclusion of this study? What are you hoping for?
So what we're hoping for, first and foremost, Abbott is committed to pioneering and advancing HMO research. And so we're committed to developing specialized preterm formulas that are as close to breast milk and to provide benefits to help preterm infants. So we're basically going to focus on these life-saving ingredients for NICU doctors and nurses so that they can help combat this devastating disease. We need to do clinical research. Clinical research takes time, of course, in vulnerable babies, but the future looks very bright and compelling with these breakthrough ingredients that have the potential to provide life-saving benefits.
Dr. Buck, thank you for joining us on Health Professional Radio this morning.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. Audio copies of this conversation are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download it, SoundCloud, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.